Have you ever noticed how easy it is to start something and almost impossible to finish? A book, a course, a project, they all begin with the same enthusiasm. But few reach the end. And it's not because of a lack of time or motivation, it's because of a lack of hyperfocus. And what you're about to discover is what separates ordinary focus, fragile, distracted, temporary, from a mental state that completely transforms your productivity and the way you live. Hyperfocus isn't just concentration, it's mastery. It's the point where the whole world disappears and only you remain, completely dedicated to what matters. The truth is, nobody is born focused. Focus is created, shaped, trained. And when you understand that, your ability to finish what you start ceases to be luck and becomes power. Today, I'm going to show you how to create true focus, how to create hyperfocus, and most importantly, how to finish everything you start, without excuses, without getting stuck halfway through. What you'll learn here is what the most productive 1% in the world have already understood. That focus is the key to changing any story, including yours. There is a big difference between focusing and living in a state of hyperfocus. Common focus is like holding a flashlight. It illuminates the path but tires you quickly. Hyperfocus, on the other hand, is like lighting the sun within your own mind. Everything around you disappears, and only what matters remains before you. It's when the brain stops fighting distractions and plunges into such deep concentration that it seems impossible to look away. And that's exactly what you're going to learn here. How to move beyond shallow focus and create hyperfocus, the mental state that enables ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things. The world today is a distraction machine. Every notification, every open tab, is an invitation to waste time and lose purpose. That's why so many start with energy and don't finish what they begin. Common focus breaks easily, like thin glass. The hyperfocus, no, he's tempered steel. He ignores noise, boredom and fatigue. It's when the brain aligns with what matters and the rest simply ceases to exist. Creating hyperfocus is an act of resistance in a world that profits from your distraction. Researchers describe hyperfocus by 4 unmistakable signs: total engagement, complete detachment from external stimuli, sustained attention for extended periods, and a loss of the sense of time, accompanied by absurd performance. It's as if time stops and you operate on a different frequency. What few people know is that this state can be induced, trained, and expanded. And it all begins by understanding that your mind has a rhythm, a natural cycle, which, if respected, is the gateway to true hyperfocus. The human brain wasn't designed to function in a straight line. It works in cycles, known as Ultradian cycles. These periods, in which last an average of 90 minutes, are when your mental energy peaks and then drops, requiring a break. Ignoring this rhythm is like trying to run a marathon without breathing. That's why many people try to force focus and end up drained, without realizing that the brain needs breaks to create true hyperfocus. Did you know that most movies are about 90 minutes long? That's right, it's no coincidence. Screenwriters discovered that the audience maintains maximum attention for that amount of time before the brain begins to wander. In other words, even cinema respects the natural rhythm of the human mind. This proves that create focus and hyperfocus. It's not a matter of strength, but of rhythm. Working against biology is like rowing against the current. It's more tiring and gets you nowhere. Think of your brain as a battery. You don't let your phone reach 0% before recharging it, right? The same goes for your mind. The secret is to alternate intense focus for 50 to 90 minutes with short breaks of 5 to 20 minutes. These breaks are mental recharges. It's during them that the mind reorganizes itself, the body balances, and focus returns even stronger. When you learn to respect this cycle, hyperfocus becomes natural, and the right environment will be the fuel to keep that energy alive. Few people realize it, but the environment you're in directly shapes your focus. Every detail, the sound, the light, the smell, the mess on your desk, communicates with your brain all the time. If the place distracts you, your mind understands this is not the time to work. Now, if the space is clean, quiet, and visually light, the brain responds with more clarity, more focus, and more energy to finish what it starts. Creating hyperfocus isn't just a matter of willpower, it's also about mental and environmental architecture. Look around. What distracts you? The flashing notification, the uncomfortable chair, the neighbor's noise. All of these are micro-enemies of concentration. If you want, create true focus. Simplify your environment. An organized desk, good lighting, and your cell phone in another room already work wonders. Block distracting websites, use headphones with white noise, and create a focus sanctuary. Whoever masters their surrounding space also masters the space within their mind. No excuses. The environment is the first filter of hyperfocus. A powerful example is that of J.K. Rowling, author of Harry Potter. When she realized that the noise of coffee shops and the chaos at home were draining her energy, she isolated herself in a hotel until she finished the book. And it worked. Controlled solitude became her tool for concentration. Creating hyperfocus is like that. Understand what distracts you and eliminate it mercilessly. Because when the environment works in your favor, the brain stops fighting and hyperfocus flows naturally, as if the whole world disappears around you. The brain loves patterns. It works by association. If something repeats itself before an important action, it understands that this is a signal to begin. And that's exactly how it works. Creates focus through rituals. It's not mysticism, it's neuroscience. Small habits, repeated consistently, tell the brain, now it's time to work. When this becomes automatic, you no longer depend on motivation, you simply begin. And it is at this point that hyperfocus is born effortlessly. These rituals can be simple: drinking coffee before opening your laptop, taking 3 deep breaths before writing, always playing the same instrumental music while studying. These are triggers that program the brain to dive into work more quickly and with less resistance. Want to know more? Create hyperfocus. Choose a ritual, stick to it, and respect the process. Over time, the brain creates a neural shortcut, and just by starting the ritual, you're already in concentration mode. Think of it like an athlete's warm-up. No runner starts a race without preparing their body, and you shouldn't start a task without preparing your mind. This conditioning transforms focus into a natural reflex. It's like telling your brain, no excuses, we're about to do something important. The ritual isn't just a gesture, it's a portal. And on the other side of it is the state of hyperfocus, where dopamine works in your favor. Dopamine is the invisible fuel behind focus. Without it, the brain loses its sparkle, its will, the why of things. But the problem is that most people waste this fuel in small doses. Social media, notifications, instant rewards. Each like, each short video releases a dopamine spike, and the more you seek these easy spikes, the harder it becomes. Create focus in something that requires time and effort. The secret is not to eliminate dopamine, but rather redirect it. Do you want hyperfocus? Then learn how to channel your dopamine. Focus on what truly matters. Break down large tasks into micro-challenges. Each small achievement releases a natural dose of pleasure and reinforces productive behavior. Want a simple example? Study for 25 minutes and then take a break with coffee or music. Finish a chapter and watch a short, relaxing video. This creates a dopamine rush that makes the brain associate progress with pleasure, and focus ceases to be a burden. Hyperfocus arises when dopamine works for you, not against you. Instead of getting lost in random rewards, you create an internal system of conscious reward. This is how the most productive people maintain energy even in difficult tasks. They don't wait for motivation to fall from the sky. They create hyperfocus and intelligently fuel your dopamine. And since we're talking about sound and pleasure, there's an even more powerful secret to strengthening your concentration: the right music. Music is one of the most powerful shortcuts to create focus. It acts directly on brainwaves, shaping emotional and cognitive states in seconds. The problem is that many people choose wrong. Songs with lyrics compete for the same mental space you use to think and write. It's like trying to have a conversation with someone while another person is talking at the same time. The brain gets lost. If you want to create hyperfocus, Choose sounds that expand, not distract. Studies show that instrumental music, such as lo-fi, classical, film scores, or nature sounds, help sustain attention for longer periods. These frequencies stabilize the brain's rhythm and create a kind of mental cushion where distractions slip away. This is why so many people get into hyperfocus, listening to specific playlists. They train the brain to recognize that sound as a trigger for concentration. It's the same principle as rituals, only auditory. If you want to go further, try it. Binaural beats, frequencies designed to synchronize the brain hemispheres. Many creators, writers, and students use this resource to quickly enter a state of flow. And here's a secret. Choose a track and always use the same one during moments of high concentration. The brain will associate that sound with the act of deep work. Without realizing it, you will be conditioned to enter that state. Hyperfocus, just press play. And when boredom sets in, because it always does, that's when the real game of focus begins. Boredom is the invisible enemy of focus. It arrives disguised as laziness, as I'll just look at my phone for a minute, and when you realize it, half an hour has already passed. But boredom isn't the problem itself. It's a sign that the brain needs stimulation on purpose. And that's where the magic happens. If you learn to turn boredom into a game, focus ceases to be an obligation and becomes a fun challenge. Creating hyperfocus is like that, playing with your own brain until it wants to continue. Turning boredom into a game is one of the smartest ways to overcome procrastination. Time your focus sessions. Count how many 90-minute blocks you can complete per day, or create a personal scoreboard. How many tasks did you finish this week? It's like a mental video game, and the prize is your own progress. The brain loves to win, and each small victory releases dopamine, reinforcing the focus cycle. It's a practical way to create focus without excuses. When you start treating productivity like a game, the process becomes light. The competition stops being against time or difficulty and starts being against the old version of yourself. With each level conquered, hyperfocus strengthens. You no longer depend on motivation, you have fun building consistency, and if one day you feel you've hit a roadblock, maybe the problem isn't you, but the environment around you, which has lost its charm and needs to change. Even the most disciplined minds get stuck. Sometimes the problem isn't the task itself, but the surrounding scenery. The brain associates places, sounds, and even smells with specific mental states. If you've spent days struggling to concentrate in the same environment, it can end up becoming a trigger for distraction. And when that happens, changing locations is like pressing the mind's reset button. It's the simplest and most effective way to create focus again. A new environment activates new neural connections. That's why a simple change of room, a trip to the library, a quiet cafe, or even a park can completely transform your level of attention. The brain reacts to the new as if to say, hey, something different is happening, it's time to pay attention. It's like giving yourself a jolt of curiosity in the mind, and curiosity is the perfect spark to reignite it. Hyperfocus. This technique is even used by creative professionals and high-performing entrepreneurs. When they feel blocked, they change their environment to trick the brain and regain momentum. Want a practical example? Try working with different lighting, rearranging your desk, or changing the soundtrack. Small physical adjustments create big mental changes because, in the end, the focus is movement and not stagnation. And those who learn to adapt also learn to persevere and to revise their own process with greater wisdom. Nothing remains strong without review. And the focus, it's no different. Creating focus is like strengthening a muscle. If you don't review it, it weakens. Many people learn powerful techniques, feel progress in the first few days, and then revert to old habits. Why? Because they don't review, they don't adjust, they don't observe what really works for them. Consistency is the secret that separates those who try from those who succeed. What begins comes to an end. The perfect routine isn't born ready-made, it's honed. It's in the process of testing, failing, and readjusting that the brain understands the pattern of success. A focus journal, for example, can change everything. Write down when you get distracted, what helped you, and what drained your energy. This simple act of observation teaches you about your own mental functioning. And when you know yourself, you creates hyperfocus in a natural way, because you already know what motivates you and what holds you back. Reviewing is an act of humility and power at the same time. It's admitting that progress requires refinement. Each week of practice, each micro-adjustment brings you closer to mastery. And that's what most people don't do. Review their own attention process. If you want to be among the few who truly evolve, start now. Repetition plus adjustment, progress. And it's this formula that prepares you for the final stage. Understanding that focus isn't a technique, it's a lifestyle. Ultimately, what separates those who achieve from those who only dream is how much each one protects their own focus. It's not talent, luck, or motivation, it's consistency. People who create hyperfocus. They don't wait for the perfect moment, they create it. They understand their mental cycles, control their environment, master dopamine, and create rituals that shape the mind to perform at a high level. Focus is emotional discipline. It's the act of choosing the essential and ignoring the rest, being part 2, 1% that they finish what they start. It requires more than effort. It requires strategy. It's about protecting your focus daily, like protecting a treasure. It's understanding that distraction is a modern form of escape, and that hyperfocus is freedom, the freedom to decide where your energy goes and to whom it no longer goes. When you create focus, you regain power. When you create hyperfocus, you redefine your own identity. And here's the question only you can answer. What's distracting you today, and what are you going to do about it? That's the dividing line between those who constantly react and those who begin to create their own destiny. There's no magic, only method. And the method is in your hands now. Create hyperfocus, no excuses. And when you understand this, the rest of your life will begin to change. Now that you know how to create focus and create hyperfocus, the question is, what are you going to do with this? Because understanding is easy, applying is difficult. Most people will leave this video and go back to autopilot, distracting themselves with things that don't change anything. But some, a few, will act. And it's in those few that life begins to transform. Because focus is decision. It's not luck. It's saying no to 1,000 things and yes to just one, the one that really matters. So think about it. What are you going to do in the next 24 hours to prove that you're in control? Will he continue justifying his own dispersion? Or will he start to finish everything you start? Choose now, because the world isn't going to stop for you to concentrate. And if this message made you think, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications and come with me, because the next step is even more profound.